and I'm not going to tell you what they're for. Okay, here's a question for you. Welcome to Life on the Moose. I know the video title says that we're going to get going on the insulation in the cabin today, but I think we're just going to sit around the campfire, tell stories, maybe roast some hot dogs, marshmallows, maybe have an adult beverage later on. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Let's just do this. Just leave me a comment of what you'd rather do, and then we'll do that. What? That won't work? Oh, that's right. By the time you leave the comment, this fire will be out. This day will be gone. Yeah, I guess that won't work, will it? This is just scrap wood left over. I swept up the cabin this morning so we could make room for the insulation. So I thought, let's just start a fire, get rid of it. Small kindling stuff, so perfect use for it. It's the third week in February. It's about 28 degrees right now. As much as I would really like to chat with you around the fire, we should probably get going. What do you think? Are you coming? Come on, let's go. Step away from the fire. Come on. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd rather sit around the fire too. Installing insulation or sitting around a campfire. We're talking two opposite ends of the spectrum there, aren't we? That's gonna burn down. I'm gonna keep an eye on it just to make sure nothing crazy happens. Okay, so here's what we're gonna use. We have R21 insulation, craft faced, which means it has the paper on it. This stuff is called the craft. So it's designed for 60-inch centers, of course. That's what the studs are on the walls. Okay, I have my insulation jacket on. Nice and slick. That way this insulation won't cling to it. So I assume most of you have seen the ceiling video, the ceiling insulation video. Some of you probably not, so I might repeat myself a few times, so pardon me if I do. First thing I'm going to talk about is flanges. These little flanges right here. On the ceiling, I put them between the studs. On the walls, I'm just going to go ahead and put the flanges on the face of the stud. It's just easier. It's not going to make probably any difference whatsoever, any discernible difference anyway, by the time it's all finished. But what this craft face also does, aside from, in my opinion, keeps the dust down a little bit, but it also provides a vapor barrier. Not that I'm worried about vapor barriers. You've heard me say before, I'm not concerned about vapor barriers here. It's not going to be heated consistently. It's not going to be lived in all the time. I'm going to use this for a stapler. This is also one reason why I want to put it to the face of the studs versus in between. Because when it's in between, then you have to do one of those things, and a lot of times you end up ripping it, tearing it. I'm not going to ask you to help me. That would be just cruel and unusual punishment. So I'm not going to do that. So you just sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, maybe a coffee. Coffee, just in case you got one of those moose mugs, which, by the way, thank you very much. Just like every single other aspect of building a cabin in the middle of nowhere, I am not an expert at hanging insulation. Am I going to do it 100% correct by the book, maximize my R-value potential? No. Okay, what I think is a handy tip, get yourself a kneeler board, which is 1 foot by 2 feet. You can kneel on it, compresses the insulation, nice edge, you can cut along. And what I also did is I put these hash marks every 3 inches, so that way I can use this to get a quick measure. Doesn't have to be 100% precise, does it? No, it doesn't. So, very handy. This I recommend. Let's get to work. Okay, we're making progress, moving along. But I did discover one thing that's going to hold us up for a few minutes. I don't know if you caught that. After I put this first piece of insulation here, I realized, wait a second, I need a nailer. In fact, I need a nailer for every joist. So my wall boards are going to go all the way up to the loft floor. As you can see, I have a nailer on this side. I don't have any on that side. So I got to go through and add a nailer on every one of those so that I can put my wall boards all the way up. So, little break in the action. Something else to do, but that's okay, right? I'm not going to tape these. I had someone ask me on the ceiling insulation video if I was going to tape my seams where the insulation met up with each other. I'm not, in my mind, not worth it based on the intended use of this cabin. So we have 10 blocks total we need to cut. 5 on this side, 5 on the other side. So I'll just go out to my scrap pile here, grab some 2x6s, cut them to length, and we'll keep going.
This video is brought to you by Moose Merch Apparel. Moose Merch is proud to present the Life on the Moose hoodie. This comfy hoodie is perfect for those striving to get ahead at work, or trying to be better at math, or those who simply want to learn how to garden. The Life on the Moose hoodie probably won't help you achieve any of these things, but you sure will look good trying. The Life on the Moose hoodie is versatile and can be worn with or without a hat, and the attached hood can be worn in the up or down position.
about 2/3 finished with the bottom part of the cabin. So I have my shorts cut already. The longer ones go underneath the window. Shorter ones go on top of the window. You probably saw when I cut them, I actually marked the floor with tape. So it works out handy when you can have a template to go on, cut a bunch at once. Makes it go a lot faster. So I still have to put these boxes in, this one and the one behind you. Perhaps you saw what I did when I ran into the wires. Basically just pressed the insulation against there. This leaves an imprint on the back of that insulation. And then you just score it, cut it, separate it, put one end on top, one end on the bottom, and it's good to go. Okay, you want to take this wall, and I'll set this one out, and yeah, maybe just kind of see how you do. Okay. Well, it's coming along. It's as fun as insulation can possibly be. I still have to put my nailers in, and I still have to put my other box on over here. So speaking of boxes, you saw I was trying to cut around boxes and tuck in insulation. Your boxes and outlets are probably one of the most notorious places where your insulation value goes down the tubes. A lot of older houses especially, you can just put your hand in front of an outlet and feel the breeze come through. And a lot of times that's because people aren't paying attention to what's behind the box. There's a big gap there. And a lot of times with this kind of insulation, it's hard to tuck it in there without losing its fluff. As I mentioned in the last insulation video, ideally you want to cover 100% of this interior space with insulation, but not compact it. Because when you compact it, it loses its R value. So you're not really supposed to stuff insulation and cram it into places. I did a little of that. I did a little stuffing. I'll admit it. Okay, now that I've confessed my sins, let's get back to work.
Let's take a ride. I've got the perfect place in mind. We've got an hour or so to hide. Montenegro, love of mine.
So what'd you have for lunch? All right, this lower section is finished. I was up with the ladder because I need to cut 5 pieces of wood. And I'm not going to tell you what they're for. I have a feeling you're going to guess what they're for. You'll find out in an episode or 2. Anyway, I have to put up some 2x6s up there before I get going on the insulation. Okay. Ow. I got a sliver this morning. I don't know how I did it. Okay, here's a question for you. When you get a little piece of wood stuck in your skin, do you say sliver or do you say splinter? Innately, I say sliver. I guess that's how I grew up. So I'd be curious to know, what does the rest of the world say? What do the Life on the Moose subscribers say? I know it's a very serious topic this week, but, you know, it's just something we have to know. All right, let's get cutting. One step closer. Check it out. Now we just have to do the loft area. At least there won't be any ladder time up there. Okay, if you're still with me, thank you. I appreciate it. You probably have more patience than I do. But that's maybe why I'm on this side of the camera. I can always edit out my impatient moments. Okay, I do have to cut a couple boards for up there. I think only 2. Because that gable end is framed just a little bit different than this gable end. Why? because I'm not an expert framer. That's why. Alrighty, let's cut some more wood, and then we'll put up some more insulation. Goodness gracious. I'm finally finished with the insulation. Oh my gosh. Can't even tell you how happy I am to have this over with. I actually got warm, even though the thermometer says it's only 40 in here. I got pretty warm, especially up in the loft. You can really tell your own body heat just reflects off this insulation. Definitely warmer. Speaking of insulation, look at that. I only needed one piece of insulation out of that bundle. How annoying is that? Okay, maybe it's not the most annoying thing in the world. Thank you for watching this incredibly fun episode of Life on the Moose. I really appreciate you sticking with me there. I know it's a tough one. Hopefully they'll get better and more interesting. So next episode, I think we're going to do walls. We still have to do a plethora of other things, like wrap that beam in there. We got a bunch of trim to put up. We have the face of that loft to finish up. Lots of stuff, lots of little things. A few big things left as well. It's coming along. And thanks for the likes, the comments as usual. You're awesome. Thanks for subscribing. Subscribing is free, by the way. It doesn't cost you anything. You can just go ahead and click that subscribe button. I believe that's all you have to do. All right, I gotta go shower and clean this insulation off of me. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, stay safe, stay warm, take care of yourself.